Welcome, friends. It's good to be together in this sanctuary of grace and to celebrate the life that we have known in David, all the ways that we have been touched by who he was, by what he did, by his priorities, his purposes, his vision for life, his vitality, right? I mean, David was pretty vital, wasn't he? And as I often say, times like these are, however we understand holy love in this world, times like these are here for us to cherish how we know that in our human lives. A few remarks about David and about this service to open us and to settle us into this space. David specifically, this service is pretty much exactly as David scripted, right? You can probably imagine that. So David specifically asked for a non-Christian specific service. David did sing here with the church for many years, and his family was long connected here. But David's spirituality, his sense of the holy in his life, of course, was something that transcended any particular expression. And I think that's very much in keeping with what this congregation is as well. And so it's a privilege, really, to share this service this time here in the spirit that David lived his whole life with, really. I had the privilege of knowing David probably for the last 14 years or so. You know, he was here for much of that time, and then he's been gallivanting across the world, as you all have followed on Facebook for the last however many years, 5 years or so. And so I appreciated that. I think at the heart of David in some ways was a respect for the humanity in every person. I mean, that's what he sought in his own life. That's what he became aware of in his own ways most intimately as his life evolved and unfolded. And I mean, I was never privileged to know his work intimately, his legal work, but it seems to me whenever we would talk about it, that's what drove him. He wanted to make a difference that respected the humanity and helped all people to flourish abundantly. And whenever we talk about politics, that was always his perspective, right? David had a few things to say about politics, right? David had his perspectives, which was great, and it was really engaging. The other thing that strikes me about, and why I say this, is that whenever David would come back to town and we would chat a couple times or something, we'd get together for lunch or whatever, and what always struck me about the stories he would tell are that, you know, David was a tourist in a way, but it was more than that for him, wasn't it? I mean, he was really, I think he was sort of a pilgrim, really, right? I mean, he was traveling the world, but he wouldn't want to go and see the Eiffel Tower and then he's done it. You know, he wants to go to a place and he wants to be there. And he wants to hire a local guide, you know, because he wants to get to know the people. And he wants to really, and he would always ask them, don't take me to the Michelin 5-star, or well, 2-star, whatever Michelin star restaurant. I want to go to the local place. I want to go where the locals eat. Because he wanted to really appreciate life. He wanted to respect that kind of humanity again. So humorously then, a couple anecdotes. First of all, again, this service is exactly as David scripted, and if you knew anything about David, he was particular about the way he likes things. I mean, when we would order soup or we'd order an omelet or something, he would always say, I would like the shredded cheddar on the side, because it cannot melt into whatever else, right? So we're pretty much doing this. There's no melting. David's got this scripted out, right? Reading music. And the other thing is that David would often tell me humorous stories about, you know, I can't remember. He was I don't remember where it was, Turkey or someplace, and he hired a guide, and he said, I want you to take me to places, but I don't want you to talk. But this guide, you know, people hire him. He's supposed to tell everybody about the local whatever, right? So he starts talking, and he's like, no, I mean it. I don't want you to talk. I want this to be silent. If I have questions, I will ask you. And the guy took a little while, and then I think he hired the same guy the next day, and he's like, now listen, I'm telling you, I don't want you to say anything. And so finally David had the experience so we don't get to say anything today. David gets to say it, right? David's talking to us here. These are readings that David chose. Emily is going to get to say something, actually. So Emily, you're speaking for us all. I don't know. But I do hope that as we share this time with one another and we open our hearts to really cherish the life, the love that we have known in David, that this can be a time that we can savor. Those Facebook posts, right? All those Facebook posts. The personal conversations and experiences that you've had with him in your homes and around town and whatever else in this world. All the ways that he tried to make life flourish. And that's what he did until basically his dying breath, right? He was vital, he was alive. That's what he would want for all of us. And so in this time together, I hope that's what we can feel, and that's what can elevate us into David's presence and the presence of the holy. Emily.
Okay, give me just a second here. All right, good morning, and thank you all for being present today. My name's Emily, and I'm my grandpa's first granddaughter in our family. I was fortunate enough to have many moments, memories, and experiences with my grandfather for 37 years of my life. When I was asked to say a few things in honor of my grandpa, I didn't hesitate for even a second if I wanted to be up here in front of so many people, because talking about someone who the world has lost much too soon is necessary for my own healing journey from such a huge loss of life and for many others. One of the many, many things that my grandpa always pushed me to do was to do things fearlessly and to do things and try things that intimidated me. And by doing this, he always taught me that I would learn, grow, and progress in my life at anything I put my mind to. Knowing my grandfather was to fully and openly understand someone in all their moments and stages of life, along with the little grandpa-ism, or Grandpa David-isms, as we like to call them. You knew that you basically had no choice but to accept his ways of doing things because, well, that was the way you had to do them, end of story. And this also is a slightly inside joke with many of our family and friends. So here are a few things that come to mind that you would quickly learn if you ever knew or got to experience being present with my grandpa. Number one, never expect 3 meals in a day. It was very rare. Either you had a big breakfast and light snacks and trail mix during the day, and also you were pretty much skipping lunch. You would be basically partaking in being present and experiencing all the type of events, but don't expect 3 meals. But of course, there would always be room for dessert. Number 2, you must always eat cookies as part of your meal, or just the meal. It could be, I apologize, and you must always microwave them for 17 seconds, exactly. No more or no less. And also, if you had multiple cookies, you had to cut them into 4s and try each kind. And number 3, which I'm sure many of you knew, is punctuality and timing was a must, well, for everything. I find myself always laughing at this because I became fully aware growing up as a child that even if you didn't have to be early for something, you always had to be early. Number 4, he always knew all the gossip, celebrity tea, and always had an article, news column, or story or reference when he was relaying any information in life to you. That man's brain was like an ongoing encyclopedia. If I ever had a question or I was trying to remember something specific, he always absolutely could tell me and have all the information straight and in order as needed. There are so many other things I could write down and speak about that my grandfather was, but I will just leave you with this. My grandpa loved everyone. His family, friends, and truly anyone he crossed paths with. I know all of us will miss him, and still to this day, it doesn't seem real that we're all coming together and celebrating his life so suddenly. And then also that he's not blasting his opera music or hymns in the back of this room for us. I hope each and every one of you here today and anyone streaming this service knows that my grandpa was always touched and would remember each and every one of you here and the interactions that you had with each of him. Thank you.
As we begin the readings, David, of course, wrote an introductory several paragraphs. So I'm just going to read those, and then we'll begin the readings in David's voice. The readings here are from Gitanjali by Rabindranath Tagore. I first learned about Tagore on my journey to India, arranged through O.R. Sam Clark, first dean of Western's Honors College. He and Cornelius Lowe, late of this church, led 30 of us on a 2-month sojourn through the dusty, crowded country. Crowded then with only about 450 million people. Now there are 3 times that many. I was the youngest of the group, only 19, and like a lot of young people, I was seeking after something spiritual beyond the me and the here. Our first stop was Calcutta. During our 5 days there, we went north to a place called Shantiniketan, the site of a school founded by Tagore. For Tagore was not only a poet, novelist, and dramatist in his native Bengali and in English, for he himself translated his Bengali verses into the beguiling English that we will hear here. He was also an educator, and with Pandit Mahatma Gandhi, the prophet of Indian independence, one of his poems was adopted as India's national anthem. Shantiniketan, in my memory, was a lush landscape of grass, gardens, and banyan trees, bathing the place in sun-dappled shade. The director at the time, in 1963, had been a small boy there when Tagore was still active. He spoke movingly of poets' influence on his life and on all of India. Once I had the chance to read Tagore's verses, I inhaled them as an expression of my own deeper self. And more than 50 years have gone by since then, but now on rereading them, I am struck again by how much they speak to my older self, even as I have come to doubt the certainty of anything after here. At this late age, they still instill in me a sense of wonder of what might be. So verses from Gitanjali, number 92. I know that the day will come when my sight of this earth shall be lost and life will take its leave in silence, drawing the last curtain over my eyes. Yet stars will watch at night, and morning rise as before, and hours heave like sea waves, casting up pleasures and pains. When I think of this end of my moments, the barrier of moments breaks, and I see by the light of death thy world with its careless treasures. Rare is its lowliest seat, rare is its meanest of lives. Things that I longed for in vain, and things that I got. Let them pass. Let me truly possess the things that I have ever spurned and overlooked. And so let us rise in spirit now. You'll find the hymns printed on an insert, number 179. Verse number 93. I have got my leave. Bid me farewell, my brothers. I bow to you all and take my departure. Here I give back the keys of my door, and I give up all claims to my house. I only ask for last kind words from you. We were neighbors for long, but I received more than I could give. Now the day has dawned, and the lamp that lit my dark corner is out. A summons has come, and I am ready for my journey. Verse 94. At this time of my parting, wish me good luck, my friends. The sky is flushed with the dawn, and my path lies beautiful. Ask not what I have with me to take there. I start on my journey with empty hands and expectant heart. I shall put on my wedding garland. Mine is not the red-brown dress of the traveler, and though there are dangers on the way, I have no fear in my mind. The evening star will come out when my voyage is done, and the plaintive notes of the twilight melodies be struck up from the King's gateway. And now we hear a recording in David's own voice.
We kiss in a shadow, we hide from the moon. Our meetings are few and over too soon. We speak in a whisper, afraid to be heard. When people are near, we speak not a word. Alone in our secret, together we sigh for one smiling day to be free, to kiss in the sunlight and say to the sky, may hold and believe what you sing. Behold how my lover loves me.
Verse number 95. I was not aware of the moment when I first crossed the threshold of this life. What was the power that made me open out into this vast mystery like a bud in the forest at midnight? When in the morning I looked upon the light, I felt in a moment that I was no stranger in this world, that the inscrutable without name and form had taken me in its arms in the form of my own mother. Even so, in death, the same unknown will appear as ever known to me, and because I love this life, I know I shall love death as well. The child cries out from the right breast when the mother takes it away, in the very next moment to find in the left one its consolation. Again, let us rise together in spirit. Number 467, Abide with Me. Please be seated. Verse 96. When I go from hence, let this be my parting word, that what I have seen is unsurpassable. I have tasted of the hidden honey of this lotus that expands on the ocean of light, and thus am I blessed. Let this be my parting word. In this playhouse of infinite forms, I have had my play, and here have I caught sight of him that is formless. My whole body and my limbs have thrilled with his touch, who is beyond touch. And if the end comes here, let it come. Let this be my parting word. And again, a recording, friends, I should note, made right here in this sanctuary. You can picture David standing about there.
The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay trees are bending, poor sinner stands a trembling. The trumpet, the trumpet, the trumpet, the trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay. One of the old days I'm gonna steal
It is moving to me. I'm sorry, I have to add one little note, David. It is moving to me that some of your voices are on that recording with him. And so it is in all of life that we share in this moment. Verses 99 and 100. When I give up the helm, I know that the time has come for thee to take it. What there is to do will be instantly done. Vain is this struggle. Then take away your hands and silently put up with your defeat, my heart, and think it your good fortune to sit perfectly still where you are placed. These, my lamps, are blown out at every little puff of wind, and trying to light them, I forget all else again and again. But I shall be wise this time and wait in the dark, spreading my mat on the floor. And whenever it is thy pleasure, my Lord, come silently and take thy seat here. I dive down into the depth of the ocean of forms, hoping to gain the perfect pearl of the formless. No more sailing from harbor to harbor with this my weather-beaten boat. The days are long past when my sport was to be tossed on waves. And now I am eager to die into the deathless, into the audience hall by the fathomless abyss, where swells up the music of toneless strings. I shall take this harp of my life. I shall tune it to the notes of forever, and when it has sobbed out its last utterance, lay down my silent harp at the feet of the silence. Following the postlude, friends, we are all invited to proceed to the dining room of our congregation, which is sort of out those doors and then down the, whichever way you came in, just go down the stairs and the dining room is under that portion of the building. We'll point you that direction. And I sure hope there are cookies. Peace be with you.